tremendous Wednesday to you. Hope that these flows find you in a good place as we get started this morning. Getting started a little bit later, I must confess, but I'm here and prepared to rock with you for the next 2 hours, no matter what. And let's get straight into it. So yesterday I got a chance to go over to the NAACP's forum. If you don't live in the greater Cincinnati area, or if you do, of course, you've got the Democrat primaries that's coming up in March, an opportunity for you to decide who's going to be on the ballot representing the Democrat Party later this year in November. And there's a lot of very important races like county commissioner. When I say county, I mean Hamilton County Commissioner, Hamilton County Sheriff, Hamilton County Recorder, Hamilton County Prosecutor. And thankfully, there were a lot of the candidates who were there. There was one notable exception, and that's Jim Neal. Did not see Jim Neal. Someone on my Facebook page said that Jim Neal is the current Hamilton County. He's the current Hamilton County Sheriff and allegedly a Democrat. They say he's a Democrat. Some question that. I'll leave it up to you if you know who I'm talking about. But he was not in attendance. And somebody on my Facebook page yesterday said that he had previously said he wasn't going to attend. And that's cool. I guess it's good to say, I guess if you're invited to the forum and you can't make it, it's better to at least send a message saying you can't make it than to just ignore it. But I think the question still remains as to why. I think that's a fair question. Maybe you have some insights, maybe it's something with his family or something. I'm sure there could be a plausible reason. Or maybe there's a less plausible reason. I would invite you to go over to the Cincinnati NAACPs, and I'm sure there are videos everywhere. Everyone had a Facebook live feed going. But I think the best place to go is straight to the source. And if you go over to the Cincinnati NAACP's Facebook page, they were running a live stream. And you can check out what you might have missed. I think it's very important as you and we make our decisions. Early voting now starts. And you can get out there starting today. And you can early vote. I'm a big proponent of early voting. I think that maybe perhaps we could think about widening the opportunity for early voting. And perhaps that's something that'll happen on the horizon. But it's voting time. And last night you had the Hamilton County prosecutor candidates. You had Gabe Davis, who I had scheduled when I was down for a little while. So I got a chance to speak with him, to reschedule him to come on to the show and talk to us about his platform. We caught up with Fanon Rucker last year, but of course I'm more than willing to speak with all the candidates multiple times. I tell people here we do have an audience. The audience here for the Nathan Ivey Show are highly motivated, intelligent people that not only vote, but are in a lot of ways deeply connected to the community. And it was quite interesting. So you had Fanon Rucker and Gabe Davis. It was moderated by Byron McCauley, brother for the Inquirer. I thought he did a good job. Shout out to Byron. And it was quite interesting. I got there a little bit late because I had some family responsibilities. And but I did get a chance to be there for a lot of the fireworks, and there were a little bit of fireworks, especially when it came to the Hamilton County Commissioners, Alicia Reese, Connie Pillage, who you'll hear on the show soon, and also Kelly Prather. The first and the last are African American females. Connie Pillage is a white female, and I thought it was kind of interesting. I've got the audio I want to play for you because I can't really do it justice. You got to hear it for yourself and see it for yourself. But there were some accusations, if you want to put it that way, that were being thrown about. And I thought quite honestly, that there were some clear differences in the candidates. I'm not endorsing anyone, but I thought there were some folks that clearly had a deep understanding of the issues and clearly had experience that stood out in the way that they answered some of the questions. But I'll give you more details in just a couple of minutes. 513-873-7134. I believe my phone lines are now up and running, and I'm willing to take your phone call. Love to hear your phone calls. The show is very interactive, and if you'd like to share your thoughts in that way, please feel free to do so. Please feel free to do so. Good morning as we get started here. Now, let me give you a heads up. Tomorrow morning, the show, now typically we go 8 to 10, but I have an appointment that's very important. It must be very important for me to move the show tomorrow morning, and I must be there. So I'm going to have to do the show at a different time. And I haven't completely, I think what I want to do is to do the show like much, much earlier, get 2 hours in, and then I'll be able to take care of my responsibilities and make my appointment. I'll give you more details after the show. I want to think about it a little bit, but I think that's what will happen. So I think tomorrow's show will just be early. It'll be from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., a live show. And instead of the usual time, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And that'll give me enough time to do what I need to do. Please bear with me. Very, very important. Okay? Very important. It must be because, I don't do this rarely. I schedule everything around the show. The show is the number one important thing I do every single morning, other than my family responsibilities. I want to remind you that Issue 7 is an initiative that will invest about $130 million per year to improve Hamilton County's transportation system, to fix roads, bridges, and the bus system. Issue 7 will create a better, more equitable community by fixing the roads and bridges we all travel on and connecting nearly 350,000 jobs to 24-hour bus service, creating new crosstown routes, and improving the frequency of the Metro bus system. So to that effort, and in an effort to give more information to the community, there's going to be 2 community forums. One is going to be on the 25th at the Word of Deliverance from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And the other one will be at the Mount Healthy City Council on March 9th. So if you can't make the one on the 25th at the Word of Deliverance, then perhaps you can make it over at the Mount Healthy City Council on March 9th. Both are from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And these efforts are being put forward to try to give the community more information, to engage with people who either don't have enough information or may be on the fence. And you got 2 opportunities to interact with the folks who are representing Issue 7 to get more information. Again, that'll be on February the 25th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Word of Deliverance. And again, on March 9th, so you can mark your calendar, at the Mount Healthy City Council from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And good morning to you. And with that, we'll kick into the show. I'll give you my number once again, 513-873-7134. If you like to share your thoughts, good morning. Please take a second and share today's show so people can get the word this morning. It was number one, it was packed. It was, I won't say standing room only, but essentially standing room only. A lot of people were standing, and there were very few seats that were open. I think that a lot of people are interested in this primary because in some cases, people feel like, whoever wins the primary is a shoo-in to go in, especially with Hamilton County Commissioner, right? Todd Portune stepped down. He's got a temporary replacement, but the women running in this race have a very strong possibility of becoming the Hamilton County Commissioner. We will find out. That includes Alicia Reese, Connie Pillich, and also Kelly Prather. Did you get a chance? Were you in attendance, number one? If so, what's your general opinion? In your opinion, who stood up, who stood down? What were the highlights? And if you didn't get a chance to attend, but you watched one of the Facebook live streams, again, I asked you the same question. What was your opinion? And your opinion may be different if you weren't in the room and got a chance to really experience the way the crowd was interacting and reacting to the various statements and the various ways that the candidates were answering the questions. So let's talk about Hamilton County Commissioner. In your opinion, what was your opinion about the candidates running for Hamilton County Commissioner as Kelly Prather, Connie Pillich, and Alicia Reese? What is your opinion? If you have one, I'd love you can jump into the Chop Shop. That is a chat room created by the Spreaker page for each day. So every single day we do a show, and there's a chat room associated with the show. And all you have to do is go to nathaniv.com, click on the today's title, boom, you'll be magically, more like digitally transported to the Chop Shop, aka our chat room. Oh man, many things to discuss, man. I see there was a death in the family. Talk about that. One of the stars of Good Times passed away. No bueno, not good. Not good. Oh man, how was the last 24 hours? Hopefully you're doing well. Good to see a lot of folks inside the Chop Shop. What did you think? What did you think about, if you saw it, If you got a chance to watch any of on one of the streams last night, so many streams, multiple streams, good folks just trying to get the word out there to the people, harnessing the power of their cell phone. What did you think about the candidates forum? Again, the NAACP did a live stream. You could check it out directly on their page and check it out for yourself and watch and listen, observe the various candidates and what they had to say. Okay, I think it's very important. I think it's very, very important. There was several watch parties. You know, people are busy. People are busy. You can't make it out. You got stuff. You got a life. You got kids. Totally understand. Totally understand. Also may talk about D. Wade a bit. He says in a recent interview over the last 48 hours, there's been some movement on this conversation. I read a headline that said that D. Wade, their daughter Zaya, born their son, but now their daughter is the leader of the family. They follow her lead. Okay. And there was at least one hip hop artist that decided to go live and to criticize that whole effort. We've been talking about it off and on. I think it's a very important conversation. Because these are 21st century black family issues. And there's a lot of black families out there, or some black families, that are dealing with the very same thing that D. Wade is dealing with. You know, they've got a child who doesn't identify with their gender. And the question is like, you know, should you be allowed to change your gender as a minor? Or should you have to wait until you're 18? I mean, you got to wait until you're 18 to drink. You got to be at least, 15, 16 to get a driver's license. Right? You know, why should you be able to? And since your brain is so underdeveloped, you know, we now know that the human brain doesn't really develop until your mid-20s. And for some people, your mid-50s. We know this. So why should we trust a 12-year-old who can't even drive a car to have the deeper understanding of what that means to change your gender? Or, I mean, hey, they pick out their clothes for school. Why shouldn't they be able to pick out their gender? I don't know. We may get into that. 513-873-7134. Did you hear about the woman who claimed that a man kidnapped her and forced her to watch Roots to understand racism? And I'm talking about the original Roots, like the 1970 versions. Now, that's what's being reported. And a man has been arrested. I'm looking at his image right now. He's smiling. Like, it's some kind of, can you do that? The criminal complaint stated that he forced the victim to watch Roots, which is a 9-hour historical miniseries about slavery. And, you know, I don't condone violence, but you know what? There are some things out there that America should be forced to watch. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of ignorant white folks out there. Because there's a lot of ignorant people across the board, but there are a lot of ignorant white folks out there that should be forced to watch certain things. Like, if you could force white folks to watch, they need some great documentaries, things like that, independent stuff, what would it be? And again, in no way am I endorsing his violence, because it looks like he's about to go to jail for a while. If in fact it's true, I don't know if it's true or not. This happened in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So there are black people in Iowa. You know, because after the Iowa primary, we know that the African American population is really, 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 really small. But apparently there's at least one brother, and there's a family behind him that lives in Iowa, because allegedly he forced this woman to watch. Now, did he force her to watch all 9 hours of it? And apparently in the complaint, it states that the suspect told the alleged victim that if she didn't watch the whole 9-hour historical miniseries, that he was going to kill her and spread her body parts across the Interstate 380. If she didn't sit and watch the show. Man. Yes. Yeah, it's real out here. It is real out here. Did you hear about this? Perhaps you did. Perhaps you didn't. Again, 513-873-7134. Now, tonight, for folks who are into politics, tonight we might be in for a treat. Not just a treat. This will be a treat. Because Bloomberg, who's been surging in all the polls now to be the possible Democrat nominee to go against Trump, is going to be on the debate stage for the first time, along with the other candidates. As I understand, it'll be Sanders, it's Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Amy Klobuchar, who we found out don't give a damn about black folks at all. And not it's one thing to not have a damn care about black folks. It's another to be an enemy of black folks. As a prosecutor, we learned this week that she's got a very troubled past as a prosecutor, as it relates to at least one case. And she's never found a police officer who can ever be, I think there was like at least two dozen officer-involved shootings while she was a DA in Minneapolis, and didn't charge any of them. Now, of course, you got to look at the details of each individual case, but in total, it says something. She'll be on the stage. Why? I don't know. Pete Buttigieg will be there. Who am I forgetting? And, of course, Michael Bloomberg. There it is. Now, there are other candidates in the race. They just won't be on stage because they didn't meet the magical threshold. And everybody's talking about whether Bloomberg, the whole anybody but Trump bothers me because I don't really think that's a smart viewpoint. You know, I know a lot of black people hold on to that. I was listening to local black radio a little bit yesterday, and I heard a black man call into the show. And he said that anybody but Trump, he told the host. Anybody but Trump. I'm like, okay. Even Bloomberg? I hear you. I think we can be a little bit more discerning than that. Maybe a little bit. Anybody but Trump, they say. Anybody but Trump. Okay. Okay, could things get worse? What? What is this? Oh, this is so dope. Oh, that is so dope. I'm seeing that the Queens Village, Cincinnati, is honoring Kathy White Wilson. Yes, man. I used to love the Negro tour guide. I know she's dealing with some serious health issues. I wish her the absolute best. I really do. Sorry, sidebar. You know, I'm in the 21st century like anybody else. I got my laptop open. I'm on Facebook, on social media. And sometimes I'll get into a tangent. It's the world we live in. You do too. We're no different. If you got a chance to attend and or view any of the forum last night, I'd like to get your thoughts. If you were there, if you were not there, I want to get your thoughts. In your opinion, who stood out the most in the race for Hamilton County Commissioner? In your opinion, who stood out the most in the race for Hamilton County Sheriff? And in your opinion, who stood out the most in the race for Hamilton County Prosecutor? Okay, I missed the recorder's race. I got a chance to watch it afterward. But again, I want to get your thoughts about the Hamilton County Recorder as well. And yeah, I know that Sheriff Jim Neal wasn't there. But again, did he send a note? Did he say, hey, listen, guys, I've got something super important. Like, I don't know, I'm flying out of town to a Trump rally. And I just want to be able to make it. I just want to be able to make it. Now, there's an Inquirer forum. The Cincinnati Inquirer is going to be doing a forum. And as I understand it, Jim Neal is not going to be there either. So this could just be his strategy, that he's not going to go to any of the forums because he's mad at the Democrats because they gave the endorsement to Charmaine McGuffey. But I would say that he only has himself to blame for that. I don't know. Can somebody put an APB, is that right, for Sheriff Jim Neal? I'm sure he's doing great work wherever he is. Probably sitting around thinking about how they can put some positive reforms in the Hamilton County justice system in place. I'm sure that's what he is doing. Absolutely sure. Oh, beautiful. I love that. I'm all about that. Great post. I see that Rizza Islam and Lil Boosie went into Dwayne Wade. If you don't know who Rizza Islam is, I mean, you just go put his name in on YouTube, Rizza Islam. They went hard with Dwayne Wade. And, listen, you put your information out there, then, you open yourself up for people to critique it, especially when you're a big-time star like D. Wade. And everybody's making a big deal out of the fact that he's allowing his daughter his son to now be his daughter. People are making a big deal out of that. It's a big deal right now. And somebody's asking me about. Oh, okay, yeah, for sure. I got you, brother. Yeah, and I can't say I'm 100%. I'd be lying to you, but I feel great. D. Wade says that his son knew about his gender identity when her son was 3 years old. I mean, I don't know. That's his child. Perhaps you can observe things like is that possible? It's totally possible, I guess. Yeah. It's totally possible. But again, these are the things I like to talk with you this morning about. Good morning to you. Miss D writes greetings. Pamela writes good morning, Nana Choppers. Cassandra writes, hey Choppers, good morning. Mike123 writes good morning. Mr. Avery writes good morning. Jared writes good morning. Hashtag Team and I. Pardon me. CG Dub writes good morning, Choppers. Mason Marler writes, morning, Nate and the Choppers. I saw Choppers last night who were at the event. Sharp writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Miss Tiffany writes, good morning. Casper writes, good morning, folks. Alt Middle is here for the children. Not any funky dog head. You know the rest. You are immersed. Yes, he likes to criticize black women for no reason. Brenda writes, happy Wednesday. Pamela writes, good morning, everyone. Cam writes, top of the morning, brother Nathan in the Chop Shop. Speak life. Brian writes, good morning. Yeah, speaking of Brian Gary was on my Facebook page. It was like he was caping for Sheriff Jim Neal. Now I don't have a problem with Sheriff Jim Neal, other than his policies and how he's going to impact him doing his job. What I do have a problem with is the fact that I won't even say problem. I mean, it is what it is. It was that. He didn't show up at the forum last night. But again, I see that people were caping for him or they were explaining that he wasn't there. I see at least one person, Iris writes, Miss Pillage was condescending, rude, and came across as privileged. There was a question that really stood out to me about diversity. And it was very interesting to hear the way the three Hamilton County Commissioners candidates answered it. And I thought that the best answer overall came from Alicia Reese. And in terms of the worst answer, I don't know. I mean, I just thought that the best answer came from Alicia Reese. And to be honest with you, and again, this is my non-biased observation, I thought of the questions answered or asked, I thought that she gave the best answers across the board. That was just my opinion. In terms of demonstrating that she knows what the issues is and are, demonstrating that she's got an experience and a history of it, and then demonstrating that she can articulate it in that moment. I thought that she answered them the best. There was a point there where I thought that Connie Pillage, again, I will say this again, who are the media people for these folks? It blows my mind. It blows my mind when I hear politicians, candidates stumbling over questions that they should be prepared for. You should be prepared for this. And prepared doesn't mean giving some BS answer. It means answering the question and giving a substantive answer that that audience is going to be able to take in. And there was at least a couple times when I was just astounded, confused. What's the point of having people on your staff if when you get in front of folks at a public forum, you don't answer the questions properly? These things can be rehearsed. These things can be practiced. These things can be anticipated. It just confounds me. And again, it's locally and it's even nationally. I said the same thing about Amy Klobuchar. She had a moment with Sonny Hostins and Pete Buttigieg. More information is coming out. Looks like he is overrepresenting and has gotten caught overstating endorsements from black people. Apparently, over the last, during this campaign trail, he's been, saying that he had endorsements that later on found out he didn't really have endorsements from black folks. And it just astounds me that these kind of blunders happen, and here you are running for president. I just don't understand it. Again, it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't. They can do better. They can do a whole lot better if they were prepared. And if you're going to the NAACP forum, you should be prepared. And I'm not saying, you want to come up with some slick answer to pacify black folks, but I'm saying you should know the difference between a bullshit response and a real response at the very least. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should know the difference between a response that black folks, that's if you have any black folks or people that have any connection on your staff, you should know the difference between giving a response that the audience is going to be like, see, that's some BS right there, and a response in which the audience will be able to take it in the right way. It blows my mind. It's like all these people are making money on the campaign, and then the candidate gets out there and completely falls on their face. Well, what are you getting paid for? Or it could be that the candidate is not listening. That could happen. But that some of that stuff was just amazing. Caller, call me right back. I'll put you straight on. 513-873-7134. Mason Marler writes, accusations do tell. Now, yeah, Alicia Reese went straight for Connie Pillage. You got all this money. Now you run a negative attack ads. Connie Pillage was not quiet about it. She said, listen, you disrespecting my staff. Kelly Prather chimed in and said, look, all this stuff about endorsements and money, it's votes that win elections, she said over and over again. You know what I'm saying? So you got a little tense there, just a little bit. And I had no problem with it. Listen, tell us what's the difference. You don't have to be friends. I thought it was very revealing and very interesting. In the Hamilton County prosecutor's race, I will say that when Gabe Davis kicked off his campaign over in Kennedy Heights, I was there. I don't know if that was the first time he got in front of people, but I will say that I see a demonstrably different, and I would say better, in terms of presentation, just the smoothness of his delivery, the comfortableness in what he was saying in Gabe Davis. And, I think Gabe Davis is doing what anybody in Gabe Davis's position, I'll articulate that in a second, would do. If it was me, I would run through the race at top speed. You want to run through the finish line at top speed. I mean, that's what you can do. Like when Gabe Davis put his name into the hat and said he was going to run for Hamilton County prosecutor. At that point, Fanon Rucker, who is much more well-known, and some will say, and I don't think this is a stretch, a lot more established in the local legal community than Gabe Davis is. Judge, people know Fanon. It is what it is. But I think that Gabe Davis is not doing himself a disservice, at least in terms of what I heard last night. Now, it was clear to me, and this is just my non-biased, just observation. I'm not endorsing anybody. But it was clear to me, or should I say, in my opinion, I thought that of the questions that were asked, because there's 1,000 questions you could ask. But of the questions that were asked, I thought that Fanon Rucker gave more depth in terms of what he would do and what his plan was. Again, I don't think that Gabe Davis is doing himself a disservice at all. I think he's still running his race as he should. Now, of course, why am I saying it this way? Because the Hamilton County Democrat Party is endorsing Fanon Rucker in the race. So you got two African Americans. One is Gabriel Davis, and the other is Fanon Rucker. And the Hamilton County Democrat Party has endorsed Fanon Rucker. Now, Gabe Davis didn't leave the race. And I'm glad he didn't leave the race. I'm glad because it keeps the conversation going. And there's a lot of similarities in terms of who they are. But I think there are some things that are dissimilar. I think one of the lines that stood out to me was delivered by Fanon Rucker. He got a lot of applause for it. I thought it was a good line in which he said that, and it was during the last 1 minute in which Brother Byron McCauley asked all the candidates in 1 minute, tell us why, we should vote for you. And it was within that time frame that, and I'm paraphrasing here, I'll probably mangle it, but in which Fanon Rucker said, hey, listen, this is the rematch that Hamilton County deserves. I thought that was a good line. I thought that was a very good line. He got a lot of applause for that. I could feel the energy behind that. Made sense. Because if you don't know, Fanon Rucker was 15 years ago ran against Joe Dieters, who was a white male Republican, still in office. He is the incumbent, and he's got a lot of money, and he's got name recognition. And on some levels, I think there's a lot of people who like the perception of who he is. So hold on, I'm getting other messages here. Somebody just sent me a message about Fanon. I don't know, brother. I can't speak to that. I don't know. I don't trade in rumors. I don't know. When things are revealed, then we'll discuss them. But anyway, I thought that was a line that stood out to me last night when he said that. He said, this is the rematch that Hamilton County deserves. And he may be right about that. Fanon Rucker was a write-in candidate 15 years ago when he went up against Joe Dieters. I think he said last night he got like 95,000 votes as a write-in candidate, which I thought was cool. It was very interesting. I don't know if that's impressive or not, but it was 15 years ago. Things have changed. The county is changing. Is it changing enough that a black man can be Hamilton County prosecutor? We shall find out. We shall find out for sure. But what are your observations? If you were there, I'm just kind of spitballing. I can't possibly remember everything. I do have audio clips prepared so we can hear directly from what happened, not from me, and giving you my analysis. But what's your analysis? What was your thoughts? Who is your favorite candidates in particular races? And does anybody know where Sheriff Neal was? Like, did he have like a serious other previous engagement? Or is that just some BS he's telling everybody because he doesn't want to do any forums at all? Or maybe he doesn't want to do the forum at the NAACP. I don't know. All I know is that Charmaine McGuffey was there. And I think being there, just like in anything else, showing up says something. But it is what it is. CG Dub writes, good morning, choppers. Good to see you, CG Dub. Mason Marler writes, morning, Nate and the choppers. Hashtag free Jim McNeil. Hashtag Naker, please. Sharp writes, good morning, Nate and the choppers. Miss Tiffany writes, morning. Casper writes, good morning, folks. Alt Middle is here. I think I read that already. Brenda writes, happy Wednesday. Pamela writes, good morning, everyone. I'm a little bit late. I've read all of these. Pat writes, good morning. Let me catch up here. Casper writes, somebody asks, what's the purpose of doing a gender reveal if y'all going to let them change sexes in middle school anyway? I almost died laughing. That's hilarious. Do black people do gender reveals? The thought never crossed my mind when I had my children. Who are we going to reveal it to? Like, who cares? Like, outside of the family. It's a boy. I don't know. It's just not my culture. Not hating on it. Sister Iris writes, good morning, great people. Ashula Israel writes, good morning, Nathan and Chopper. She's going to be my guest tomorrow. We're going to talk about heart health. Tomorrow we're going to talk about heart health. Okay, it's going to be a very important conversation. I know February is Heart Health Month, but for me, I want to extend that conversation to you, my audience, just as a reminder to take care of yourself. I was out yesterday. Everybody came up to me. I saw a lot of good people, a lot of friends, a lot of people I know. Everybody was like, Nate, you okay? And I'm doing great. I'm not 100. I'd be lying if I said I'm 100, but I'm doing well. And I'm looking forward to that conversation because health is wealth. It means everything. Ashley writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Renee writes, good morning, happy Wednesday. CG Dub writes, 24-hour bus service. Yes, that's issue 7. Yep. There is a link on my Facebook page right now, like one of those Facebook events from the Move Forward campaign, Yes on 7, and February 25th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Word of Deliverance, and you can check that out and let them know that you're interested and get more information. And I plan to be there. I want to check it out. It's been a minute since I've been to the Word of Deliverance. That was terrible. Mike Davis, I'm sorry. Mike Davis writes, rise and shine, young stars. Tracy writes, good morning. I saw her last night. I didn't get a chance to go over because I wanted to get home quickly. My children go to bed at 9. And, I'm just, when you have a near miss, man, it just makes you sit back and really, for me anyway, it's making me sit back and reprioritize and really not even figure out, but to focus on what's important. And for me, that's the family. That is the family. Tracy writes, Jim Neal was a no-show. I'll have to speak with the NAACP. I don't know if he let them know that or not. I'm not sure. Again, there could be a lot of plausible reasons why the brother didn't show up. And by brother, I say that very loosely, Jim Neal. And I don't know. But all I know is he wasn't there and Charmaine McGuffey was. That's all I know. So take that for whatever it is. Angela writes, salutations. Good to see you. Angela was there as well last night. Mila writes, I didn't hear anything about the forum. Hope I can make the next one. You didn't hear anything about it? We talked about it and there was a lot of stuff out, but yeah, it was, as I came driving up to CAA, I'm like, well, damn. I mean, cause it was packed. I mean, if you drive past CAA, that's the Community Action Agency right now, the parking lot is not going to be as full as it was last night. And, I'm a lucky guy. I mean, some things I'm lucky in cars. I won't go through the whole list of ways I'm lucky, but I'm lucky in parking spaces. I never even fret about a parking space. So me, it was completely packed. I drove straight up to the top lot where the library entrance is. I just knew I was going to get a space because it always happens that way for your boy. And sure enough, black woman's coming out. I packed up straight up in there, man, walked straight in. It was beautiful. Other folks had to park down in the lower parking lot, come up the steps. D. Wizzle writes, no African-American men were ever hired in Joe Dieter's office as attorneys for over 100 years. He kept the tradition going. Yeah, that was a very interesting thing that Fanon Rucker said, that, that there are very, 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 very few people of color men of color who are prosecutors. I think it's like 2 out of 150 plus. But it also, for me, and this is why I thought the question of diversity was very important. See, for me, Hamilton County prosecutor is more, and I think Brother Fanon said something, I think it was another great flow he had last night when he said that being a prosecutor is more than just prosecuting people. I love that mentality. Because I think he's right. And for me, it's not only who the Hamilton County prosecutor is, but it's the whole office. It's the whole shebang. Like, who are these people? Right? And is there diversity in this county-wide office? I would say probably not. I think if you did some research, you probably find there's probably very little diversity inside the Hamilton County prosecutor's office. And I'm talking about clerical staff, the whole 9 yards, administrative staff. I'm just spitballing here, but something tells me. And I think it has an effect. So, to have these candidates understand that going in, I think says a lot about their mentality. You know what I'm saying? And Fanon's talking about, just pulling down the veil over the prosecutor's office and being more community oriented. I like the way that sounds. I love the way that sounds. They talked about, black lawyers not getting any federal experience and how it stops their growth. It's a game at play. So we shall see. Angela writes, HCC was a pure-ish show. Hamilton County Commissioner. Well, it was interesting, to say the least. Give me some deeper thoughts on Grand Rising. Give me your deeper thoughts on that, Angela. Like, what did you see? I'm curious. Ray was there as well. Ran into Ray. She writes, Grand Rising's all. No Spreaker alert. Damn it, Spreaker. Damn it. Mike Davis writes, Casper, I heard Cory Booker's girlfriend came out as LGBTQ. Did you hear that? Yeah, I read it as well. Rosario Dawson. Yes. Oh, I did misspeak. I said tomorrow that we're going to be joined to talk about heart health. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's Friday because tomorrow's Thursday. Thank you for that, Cam. I appreciate it. I did misspeak. I didn't mean to do that. So it'll be on Friday's show that we'll have a guest on to talk about heart health in our community, in the black community. I'm looking forward to it. I hope it can be like a series of conversations, just to remind, my audience and the larger audience about that. I think I know I'm speaking from experience. That is very, very important. Very, very important. So thank you for that correction, Cam. Thank you. That'll be Friday, not Thursday. Mike123 writes, we need to start addressing mental illness in this county again. Casper writes, Joe Dieters hired one last week. He posted it in Twitter with his badge. Is that right? He said, I got me an African-American over there right before the election. Let me go on Twitter and check this out. Is that right? We got one, y'all. We got one. So, before you get all mad at us. What is this now? See here. What is this Twitter handle? Because it's not, is it Joe Dieters? Well, I should spell the man's name correctly. That'll make sense. I don't know. If you can, Fane, just hit me with the link and I'll check it out. I'd love to see that. I did see something about that Mike D on the HuffPost site. Jericho writes, hola, beautiful black people and the others too. Hey, good to see you. Mike Jones writes, sounds like CNN and MSNBC at D Wizzle. Where the black men at? Well, there's no black candidate, or when Obama was in office, you saw more black men on these particular cable networks because now they felt like their view was valued. I'd say the view should be valued all the time. Casper writes, Kendall Coles, an Ohio State law grad and former magistrate in Hamilton County, was a prosecutor in 1997. Y'all need to stop spreading false rumors. Iris writes, I think Connie was patronizing and Kelly offered absolutely nothing but trying to dog Alicia like she was on an assignment. Reese had answers and workable solutions. Yeah. I think Sheriff Neal canceled 2 hours before. What trash? Or what's trash? So we canceled 2 hours before. Okay, so if we canceled 2 hours before, maybe something came up. I always open the door for that. I try to be fair. Or maybe he just decided that he didn't want to it wasn't worth his time. He can win anyway. Or maybe he feels like he can't win. So what difference does it make? He's going to thumb his nose at everybody. I don't know. I don't know what this man thinks. All I know is that he wasn't there last night, and I think that's an important part of putting it out there. So people know it for themselves and can draw whatever conclusions they want to make. Mason Mahler writes, Jim Neal sent a MAGA message. I'm not Nakers. Ray writes, it was an interesting, robust encounter. You talking about between the Hamilton County commissioner candidates? Yeah, enough of me talking about it. Let me see if I can get plugged in here and we can just listen for ourselves. And you can listen for yourself if you weren't able to be there last night. And Nacho, no, I don't know. Nacho, what's that? Hold on one second here. And hold on one second. Excuse me. Here it is. I'm on the Cincinnati NAACP's page. And they did a live stream last night that I know a lot of people was sharing. And here we go. Yeah. I thought Brian did a good job last night. I've moderated for the NAACP before. What you want to do is answer the questions and get out the way. And let the people hear from the people that they came to hear from. I thought he did a good job. All right, let me see if I can get this audio for you because I think it's really important to hear for yourself. And then that way, there's no question marks as to what really happened. So I'm going to begin this with the Hamilton County prosecutor. I don't anticipate playing all of it, just some of it. But check this out. To accomplish this is for Rucker.
These goals that we're claiming to, you're not going to hear a whole lot of different things between me and Mr. Davis about what we plan to accomplish. But what you need to keep in mind is that this is about a history of experienced leadership. That's what it's going to take to win this election. And I'm the one that can do it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Davis.
So I'm going to beat Joe Dieters because I can build a coalition to get it done. I'm going to beat Joe Dieters because Joe Dieters has never run against me. He doesn't know how to run against Gabe Davis. He doesn't know how to handle a Gabe Davis candidacy. We're going to beat Joe Dieters because...
I got to chime in here. And again, I'm going to go back and play most of just what Fanon had to say before that, just to be fair. But I want to get your thoughts on that point right there. I thought it was an interesting point that he said. He said, Joe Dieters doesn't know how to run against me. And we all know, and again, the circumstances were different then. I mean, Fanon was younger in the legal game. He had not been a judge, and he was a write-in candidate. Right? But Joe Dieters did, if you want to look at it like that, beat him. So is there anything, in your opinion, I want to break things down and look at it critically. What do you think? Is there anything to what Gabe Davis said about him being an unknown and Joe Dieters not being able to, or never having experience running against him? Anything there? You tell me.
We have ideas on how to reduce gun violence, ideas on how to end an unjust cash bail system, and we're running on those ideas. We're taking our case to the voters. We're presenting something new. People want new, fresh leadership. 2020 is going to be a change election. People are tired of the status quo. People want new ideas, fresh approaches, and people with the experience to get the job done. I have all those things. I have a heart for this community. I have local ties here and a passion that is born of having been from this area and having stakes here that run deep. But I have been outside. I can bring that perspective from the outside, and I can implement that change because I've seen how it can be. And I can build a coalition throughout the entire county to beat Joe.
Candidate for the past, a candidate for the future. I'm Gabe Davis. Vote for me March 17th.
All right, that was Gabe Davis. That wasn't my audio. That was from the feed itself. The audio just went down a little bit here. Here's Charmaine McGuffey from last night, and she was at the table by herself because the current Hamilton County Sheriff was not there. Some are saying that he canceled right before the event. Is that true? Again, things happen. People have family responsibilities. I mean, there could have been a crisis at the Hamilton County JC. You never know. Justice Center. You never know. Just to be fair, but let me see if I can pull this back up here. Here we go. Just if you never heard Charmaine McGuffey speak, you can get a sense of how she answered the questions last night. Now, not. Sorry, here it's just video's having some issues. Hold on, let's wait for it to catch up a little bit. So, and I'll play a little bit of what Charmaine McGuffey had to say, and then we'll get into the Hamilton County Commissioner's race, which someone said was robust. And that's one way of putting it. Yeah, I think that's fair. Recorder Crowley, Prosecutor Rucker, Sheriff Charmaine, Commissioner Reese. That's from Tracy from Cincinnati. Casper writes, Rizza Islam said the same thing another caller said about still loving your kids in spite of their bad decisions. You must be speaking of yourself, right? Must be speaking of yourself. I don't know. Mason Marler writes, D. Gabriel Wade is doing the most. He needs to go sit down somewhere. Jesse writes, D. Wade sounds crazy. Ray writes to Iris and Angela, Tracy, good to see you all last night. Iris writes to Tracy, it was out of order. I'm still baffled by it. Kush writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Casper writes, the Swiss Family Wade reality show is going to be the most watched reality show in history. The Swiss Family Wade? I see D. Wizzles in the house. Good morning to you. CG Dub writes, thanks for the additional information in reference to the prosecutor's office at Fame. Tracy writes, Pillage says she hires Kentuckians. To me, so the NAACP forum, to me, I think that it was clear on some levels that perhaps Connie Pillage doesn't have the kind of relationship with the black community as does the other two candidates, just to put it that way, to put it very mildly. Cam writes, is Connie for the national advancement for colored people? Maybe I can't speak for Connie Pillage. I don't know. I hope to get a chance to speak with her. I spoke with her and one of her staffers just yesterday, and it looks like that's going to happen really soon. Tracy writes, she was playing the victim big time. Yeah, Connie was complaining about the amount of time she was getting. I think Byron mistakenly passed her over a couple times. If I was the candidate, I would have a problem about that too. I do, because, this is your opportunity to get in front of people. You want to make sure you get as much time as every other candidate. So I didn't count it. That was just my observation. What's yours? I didn't count the time that she had. Tracy writes, Cam, Connie is for Connie. Cam writes, is Connie for the Prince Hall Masons? Ray writes, Nathan, correct. From the first few times I've spoken with Gabe, he has grown in his confidence. That's a great way of putting it. Far more eloquent to me. He's grown in his confidence, right? He's more confident in his public speaking, talking about the issues than he was when I went to his kickoff in Kennedy Heights last year. And again, if I'm Gabe Davis or I'm anybody, until I decide to get out the race, I'm running 100 miles an hour. You know what I'm saying? Usain Bolt straight through the finish line. Mike Jones writes, Kelly thinks she's Obama. She ran for U.S. Senate when no one knows her. She should humble herself and run for council. Well, it's hard to tell somebody what they should run for, in my opinion. I think that gets difficult. Hold on, I think I got the audio here. This is just as I say it, it stops on me. Oh man, this feed is it's difficult, put it that way. Tracy writes, Cam Davis is riding Obama's coattails. I don't want to hear about D.C. Well, I mean, he's got to talk about something, Tracy. He's got to talk about something. Angela writes, can Fanon get the white Dem vote is the question. Well, he's got the endorsement, so that takes one step in getting the white Dem vote. And trying to think, was there anything that he said last night that would necessarily turn anybody off? Like would turn a white candidate off? I don't think so. I think that Fanon is not new to this. And you can tell. Tracy writes, Nathan, do you think Kelly should stay in the race? I think that Kelly Prather should do whatever Kelly Prather thinks she wants to do. And I support her in her endeavors. Again, I'm not endorsing anybody. That's not what I'm here to do. But I mean, if she believes she should stay in the race, she should. Now, stepping away from a bit and just being objective, do I think that she has a better chance at winning than Alicia Reese? I think Alicia Reese has a better chance. Now, having said that, because they're two African Americans, that means that one is going to take votes, from one another. So if your interest is to get, let's say you're interested in getting a black female on the Hamilton County Commission. I think that from what I see, the better shot would be Alicia. So I know people have told Kelly, I was talking with Lincoln yesterday. We was catching up a little bit. He told me that he told Kelly on his show that she should drop out the race and run for city council. But again, it's hard to tell somebody, and in fact, I think it's impossible it's not impossible. I think it's hard to tell somebody what they should do and what they should run for. If she feels like that's what she wants to do, then by all means. But is it going to have an impact on Alicia Reese? Well, of course it is. Of course it's going to have an impact. Of course it is, no doubt. They're going to be pulling from the same pot. Now, could that then have an impact on her beating Connie Pillage? Of course it could. Connie Pillage has, $600,000, $500,000? Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that she can do two things simultaneously. She can reinforce her brand where people know her. I think that people say that's in the suburbs. While introducing herself in the city. In a big way. $500,000? Now, is Connie Pillage committed to spending all of that money on this particular race? Is she committed to putting the whole 500,000 in this race? Because if she is, that means you're going to see her everywhere. She's going to be everywhere for a short time. She's going to be on your radio. She's going to be in your digital shows. She's going to be on the TV. When you get on YouTube, she's going to be there. $500,000 in 90 days? Not less than that. So, but is she committed to spending all of that money? She may not. She might want to keep a little bit for the next opportunity. I think it was Alicia Reese that kind of pointed that out. Like, here you are, just running for this now because you got the money to do it with no real connection with the community. I think I heard that. Angela writes, I wonder. Well, the county's changing. That's one thing. The Democrats, the demographics of the county is changing. So that would make it, I would say that would be a good thing. I don't know. I haven't looked at the statistics from the last rate. Where did Joe Dieters get his votes in the last race? Are white Democrats voting for Joe Dieters? Bloomberg writes, seriously, what makes you think that Joe Dieters will ever lose his seat? Well, again, the demographics of the county is changing. And then number two, you got to put up a resistance and put up a challenger. Just having him run unopposed, which seemed to be par for the course for many years, is no longer, that's not sustainable. That's not even viable. It's not attractive. Nobody wants that. We deserve better. Pamela writes, I watched the commissioner portion of the forum. It was clear that Prather thought it was a debate and not a forum. I think at some point Byron McCauley reminded people like, hey, this is not a debate. This is a forum. Right? I think he actually said that. And but if you're Kelly Prather and everybody's saying you should step out the race, and it was reported that she hasn't raised any money in the last quarter, so perhaps she's not raising a lot of money. Yes, thank you so much, Cam. Yes, I remember. I think I corrected myself. Yeah, I just got your text message. Yes, I misspoke on that. But if you're Kelly Prather, what you want her to do? Sit there and just be quiet? She got to do something. She got to make some kind of move. She got moxie. She didn't get up there just to say nothing. And if that means she got to go after Alicia Reese, then that's what she's going to do. Period. That's what she's going to do. I'm not here to criticize her. I'm just here to tell you what happened. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Nathan.
Hey, what's up? I can hear you, Nicole. How you doing? Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, yesterday was lit. I got to say, if you were in the building, then you saw it from beginning to end, and it was really awesome. And I want to thank everybody. I seen a lot of the choppers, Tracy, Angela, Iris. It was probably more, but I just couldn't keep up with everybody. All the who's was in the building. It was well over a couple of hundred of people. I know we had seating probably for like 150, 200. So we had to pull out more chairs, and it was still like standing room at a certain point. So it was well attended. And we got to thank UC Health. They sponsored our event, so it made it possible to kind of get the word out more. And then they provided the catering, which it was good food that I didn't get a chance to get any of. So it goes to tell you that people really enjoyed it because it was gone quickly. But the whole entire race, I have to say, I guess the most anticipated races was the prosecutor's race, the county commissioner's race, and even the sheriff's race. I did get an email from the Neil Camp, a few hours before the event that he wouldn't be able to attend. So we had all the expectations for them to have a head-to-head race, and so that had to change it to an interview. But I think Charmaine McGuffrey did very well and answered the questions, very well, and the audience definitely responded well to her. So to her credit and to her advantage for being there, and that's what happens for the candidates. When you show up, you get a bigger platform, and she definitely took advantage of that. I'm trying to think of one of the answers that or one of the questions we posed was, should correctional officers also have body cameras? And I was thinking in terms of, the whole ordeal when Judge Hunter was in jail and had complaints and concerns about her treatment from certain correctional officers. And, we had already was thinking through the NAACP camp for proposals for body cameras on correctional officers uh, in jails and further along on the state level in prisons. This would keep some of the corruption down and some accountability as it relates to how inmates are being treated inside these facilities. And so it was interesting to see her response to that. Also going into the prosecutor's race, which we wanted to heavily emphasize, uh, you know, the fact that prosecutors across the country, 95% are white, 79% are white men, 14% are white women, and 5% are African Americans. And the mere fact that these gentlemen are running, if either one of them was to win, it would be history making. Our little booklets has the questionnaire and bios of each candidate, but it also has information about the office. And in the prosecutor's race, we showed the whole history of prosecutors from starting from 1893 all the way up into the current. And you'll see that Joe Dieter's been in office since 2004, and he even did a term from 1992 to 1999. So I'm telling you, this is like what, over uh, 20 years of Joe Dieter's, um, which says a lot. Uh, and then to think in the terms of the 120 years of this office existence, how there's never been a person of color uh, to lead it. And then in the whole state of Ohio, there is not one person of color in the prosecutor's race. And this ties to the heart of our criminal justice reform and why we see the disparities in sentencing and everything else when it relates to prosecution, which makes this seat so vitally important because, you know, the prosecutor has extraordinary power, the discretion to prosecute or not to, negotiate sentencing, and how they exercise that power can be the difference between justice and corruption, and whether a community has faith in their justice system or if they're feeling betrayed. And I think for a lot of us, we know how we feel with the current, uh, leadership we have right now. And so we wanted to give the candidates an opportunity to expand on prosecutorial misconduct and they could have, this was an open door whether they wanted to talk about what they noticed locally or nationally or whatever. And so they took advantage of that to throw blows at Joe Dieters and really explain some of the things he's done that was inappropriate. Also, one of the questions that we had for the prosecutors was in relates to the backlash that prosecutors get for being a prosecutor. You think about Kamala Harris in her presidential race, and one of her downfalls was being a prosecutor and people deeming like, hey, you prosecuted black people, you did this. And so we wanted them to explain how um, do you think more black attorneys, well, one, do you think black attorneys choose defense over prosecution and fear of being deemed the bad guy toward people of color? And how do you reconcile good from a role that requires you to often prosecute people of color to the fullest extent? Like, how can you overcome that? It's almost like be careful what you ask for, because when you get it, then you don't have any control of the enforcement of police officers who are still going to, at an extraordinary rate, selectively enforce the law on people of color. They come before you. How do you, reconcile that? Because at the end of the day, your job is to prosecute, right? Um, we asked them about what's their position on the death penalty, juvenile bound over rate. Our county is still the highest bound over rate for juveniles into adult prison. What is that going to look like under your administration? Um, Also, part of the role of a prosecutor is to protect witnesses. And we know part of the reason why we have a lot of unsolved uh, crimes in our community is because people are afraid to testify. Does our witness protection program look like? Do we need to improve that anyway? How do we make people comfortable or make people feel safe that they can come forward so we can have safer communities? Um, and so there was a lot there. I think I agree that uh, Fanon did a phenomenal job. They both did, and they really stretched out. But I think Fanon gave the position of experience and the relationships that he's built, and how he would be the best candidate. And I do agree that that line about being uh, having that rematch really, excited people because they remember years ago when he ran and how close, even as a writing candidate, he came. And so um, that was something I think people want to see again. As far as the county commissioner's race, woo, that kind of like took off on his own. And I'm sorry, some people are going to our Facebook page, and the stream is choppy, and like I try to explain on the stream that they probably had us on an open Wi-Fi, which our videographer should have been on a secure Wi-Fi stream that would have been not competing with everybody else's devices. So I have to go and see if hopefully he just videotaped it too, just straight, and not just did everything live. And maybe if that was the case, we can pull that and have a more consistent flow. Because I would hate for people who wasn't able to come to not hear and see what was said, and how people responded, and just it would just be unfortunate. But if you were there, you did get a chance to see it. But that uh, county commissioners race, real quick, some of the highlight points. There was a point where Connie Pillage demanded Alicia Reese apologize. You remember that?
I do. I do. And I think it was because Alicia Reese basically accused her of running attack ads. Is that true? Am I correct in that?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was more or less. She was confronting her about, I guess, that campaign money and how she began, running for one particular race, and then I guess it's transitioning, utilizing it for this race, and she was just saying there's no corruption in my campaign, and you need to take that back. I'm demanding. So it was a lot there. Um, Kelly, our girl Kelly, was doing a lot of name calling Alicia Blowhart, which I think was rubbing people the wrong way, in a lot of ways. But it was becoming a challenge. And then I think in the beginning, when they did their opening introductions, Alicia really killed it when she says that, you know, you're sitting in one of her accomplishments, the Community Action Agency, when they were going to shut it down in its original location, and they was able to bring it to where it is now, and that we're able to have this forum because of the work she's done and how she emphasized the the wealth and experience that, and how she's every race she's ran, she's won. So she went through that whole gambit, and how experience matters and accomplishments matter. And so it was a lot of good information there, and there was a lot of people in the building that I haven't seen in a while. So it was good to see everybody. We was able to also acknowledge the loss of our president's daughter, Latasha Richardson, have a moment of silence for her. And so it was, I think it couldn't have been done any better. Um, and it's just going to get better. And usually when we collaborate and we have more people involved, we have partnered with National Action Network and the Urban League. And when we come together, it's just like what Dr. Odell Owens has said. When we all have collective will, it's nothing that we can't do. So when we come together, we can do great things, and we just got to continue on that path. It's like how we partner with Sin Digital Media, and you give us a platform and a voice in that way. When we come together, we can do amazing things. So I really appreciate everybody coming out, and just make sure you come out next Tuesday, the 25th, which will have our state representatives, district candidates, congressional candidates, and judicial candidates. And that's February the 25th, same place, Community Action Agency, 1740 Langdon Farm Road at 6 p.m. So don't miss that. All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's TNT checking in, giving us the rundown. She said it was 2 hours before they got an email from Sheriff Neal. I don't know, man. Like, things happen. People have asked me to do stuff, and I've said either giving them a soft yes or a soft no, or let me think about it. And I later had to go back, and I hate it. I hate it because, I hate telling somebody I'm going to do something and then don't do it. I hate it. And so that I can only assume that perhaps Jim Neal feels the same way. And you never know what happened. I'm not here to make excuses because I don't have any information. But, 2 hours right before, it sounds like maybe it was an emergent situation. Like if it was me and I was supposed to be at a forum like that as a candidate, it would have to be something like, it would have to be like my family, something like that for me not to be there. But again, things happen. Or sometimes people make decisions because of their priorities and what they think is important. You know what I'm saying? And if people take Jim Neal not being there that way, that's fine. And I think it was a great flow by Alicia Reese. She's right. She's right. She was instrumental in helping to save the new location for CAA. That's true. That's facts. And let's get straight back to the phone line. So good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Nate. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Brother Terrence, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. A lot of energy, a lot of excitement.
Yeah, it was good to see you last night.
Election. Oh, yeah. Had to be there last night. The room was filled with energy. We have a monumental time before us, and I want to call and reinforce TNT may have had call of the year. And I don't mean call of the year because we have the rest of the year to go through, but I'm saying call of the year because we are truly facing a time when we can see restorative justice here in Hamilton County. And one of the things, and I don't oftentimes even agree with my brother, and it's been mentioned, prosecutors have wide discretion to use asset forfeiture funds and redistribute those things towards other programs. If I'm not mistaken, part of his base, Dieter's base, is the West Side. He's given money for, if I'm not mistaken, for Elder to have a new stadium built. And we think about how our kids here in Cincinnati and Hamilton County are struggling to have school programs. They're struggling to negotiate where stadiums are going to be built for our kids without money. There is a lot at stake here. As you mentioned about prosecutorial discretion in terms of who to charge and what to charge. We saw what happened to Tracy Hunter and how she's been persecuted by this administration. This is what we're talking about in terms of restorative justice. We have to realize and understand during this general, the best candidate's going to be picked by the person that gets the most people to turn out and vote for them. Whoever makes it past the primary, we're on our way to the general. We need to redouble our efforts for people to be registered to vote. We need to convey and carry that message as the NAACP forum was able to do yesterday. This is a time when we need everybody to participate, inside Bond Hill, inside Roseline, our neighbors, our brothers, our sisters, the people we know that's been through mental health issues and have been put into a prison versus them being provided adequate mental health care. Just as we're watching how the opioid crisis over impacts one particular demographic here than another, and they are not being hit with the same type of charges that will otherwise, even on a basic standpoint, eliminate us from being eligible for federal student aid. This is when we can stop the over-prosecuting of our kids. We can redirect the trajectory of their futures, make sure they don't have that drug charge and get diversion with people we elect on a drug court if so is necessary. This is a time that is critical to the development and the future of our people. And TNT again hit the nail on the head, point by point. And I really want to encourage people that, they truly missed out on something yesterday. And I really, truly want them to understand when you have moments like this, we have to seize and captivate the energy, the minds, and push it forward and make sure we have the end result we need for restorative justice. And that's all I got.
All right, brother. Thank you for your call, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. That's Terrence Graxton. And he is running in the 33rd district. Wants to be your state rep. Again, as I was listening to TNT and Terrence Graxton, racked them both great calls. I was thinking, we don't know what it's like. Like in my lifetime, I don't know what it's like to have a prosecutor office that I didn't feel was hostile to my community. Like, I don't believe that if Fanon Rucker or Gabe Davis become the Hamilton County prosecutor, that suddenly overnight it's going to transform everything. That's naive. And I do believe that there might be times or things that either one of those brothers, if they become the Hamilton County prosecutor, do or say. And I'm like, But just because we disagree here or there don't mean we got to be disagreeable or fall all the way out. Sometimes in Cincinnati, especially in the black community, I feel like I've seen that before. Like, you disagree on one issue, now I can't stand you no more. I'm not like that. But I do think that, again, we don't know what it's like to have a Hamilton County prosecutor's office that's not hostile. You know what I'm saying? That is community oriented. We don't even know what that's like. Like, we don't know what the Hamilton County prosecutor's office could be because we've had the same old mentality running everything for so long. I think there's a lot of really important races. That's why I want to focus and speak with all of the candidates, every last one of them. Whether people think they're viable or not, I think these men and women deserve a little bit of our time so we can get a sense of who they are before we go in and make our votes. That's what I think. CCCP says, quote, stop disrespecting my staff and put some respect on my name. When you say my name, put some respect on it. Cam, it's hilarious. You're funny for that one. That was Connie Pillage, right? Yeah, Connie did. Let's just say it was interesting. We'll put it that way. D. Wizzle writes, yes, CG Dub, those are facts. I'm glad at least 2 African-American women got hired at Joe's office. Casper writes, those aren't facts, D. Wizzle. You are not correct. I will bet you any amount of money that Kendall Coles was a black man prosecutor in 1997. Here it is. We're getting a call here. Let me take it. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, D. Wizzle.
Hey, what up, D. Wizzle?
How's it going, Nate?
I'm doing great, man.
Oh, you got it. Hey, thanks for putting up a feed last night, even though they had some other issues. And
yeah.
I'm kind of getting a little feedback now myself.
Yeah, sorry about that, D. Wizzle. You sound pretty low, man. Are you on speaker?
I'm not, but go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you if we're on speaker to take it off, but go right ahead, man. I can hear you. I think the audience can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great. Well, first off, did you hear last night that one of the candidates said that there were no black males in the prosecutor's office? I'm trying to understand what I heard there. Can you clarify on that?
I don't think I can clarify to a 100% degree certainty, but let's say we can put it out there. Maybe somebody has that information. I do remember that particular thing. I think it was Fanon Rucker. The question was about diversity, and he said out of 150 some odd prosecutors, only 2 are people of color. I think it was something like that. Okay. But I don't quote me on that 100%. And we'll have to go to the tape and listen to what actually they said. I got the audio queued up. I'll play it here in a minute.
Okay, yeah, I'll follow you on that. I remember him saying it was only 2 in 100 years, and I thought they were females, and I thought I understood him to say no black males had ever been prosecutors in the prosecutor office, and so therefore there have been no black males who ever prosecuted a felony out of the prosecutor's office. But what I will say, did you just get a call from somebody saying that Kendall Coles was a prosecutor?
Yeah, that was yeah, I did. It wasn't a call, it was a text message. I think it was Fame who said that.
Okay, well, Fame, I just confirmed because he is a close family friend. He just told me he was a city prosecutor and not a county prosecutor.
Okay.
But, a cousin of mine had a real estate company, and Kendall reminded me of Ross Wright, who was in real estate with my cousin years ago before he became an attorney, and he did say he and another guy was, in fact, two black men that were Hamilton County assistant prosecutors, So, yeah, but Kendall never was. So Fame, I just wanted to let you know that. So I appreciate the show, man, and I'll be checking you out.
All right, take it easy. That's D Wizzle, man. Cool brother right there. It's a cool brother. I like D Wizzle. Got that cool deep voice. Good morning to you. Now, someone asked a question about a breakdown on asset forfeiture. I thought that the individual, his name was Jim McNair. I gave him lots of props on the show because that's what I do. And he used to write for CB Magazine. They got rid of him along with some other staff about 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago. And he used to do the best reporting on that as anybody in the city. And he used to get deep into it. He was an investigative reporter. And I just posted a link to one of his articles in which there was a breakdown on asset forfeiture. If anybody, I know he was a little bit low because I can just see it through my monitor here. Every phone is different, but hopefully he was, it was loud enough that you could actually hear what he was asking. He also asked a question. He's looking for clarification on something that was brought up last night about, the amount of diversity or the kind of diversity they have in the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office. You know what I'm saying? So let me see here if I can get more information for you. I want to get a live feed for you so you can just hear for yourself. And there's multiple places inside the Friends page. A lot of folks posted in there and posted feeds, and you can check it out for yourself and, make your own determination about, what they said, what the candidate said, and who you think is the best candidate.
So that would be Connie Village.
It's always me.
This is a Hamilton County Commissioner's race.
I'm Connie Village. I'm running for County Commission. This is the seat that Tom Fortune held for 20 years, and I'm very honored to have received his endorsement. The County Commission is really exciting. I know you didn't know this, but it is because the county builds things. It builds pathways to success for those who are struggling. Things like jobs, training, and access. Things like clean water and functioning sewers. Things like programs to promote maternal health and combat infant mortality. And also avenues to home ownership and making sure we have affordable housing. The Commission can do this and much, much more. But to be at its best, the Commission must have a servant leader at the helm. And that's the kind of leadership I bring. I've always been drawn to service. That's why I joined the military. That's why I became a public defender. That's why I was a legislator. And that's why about 3 years ago, I joined the board of the Cincinnati Urban League. My name's Connie Pillage. Thanks for being here.
And the reason I decided to run for county commission is
this is Kelly Prather.
For far too long, the county has not served poor and black communities. Justice is a ministry for me. Did you hear that? Justice is a ministry for me. This race is about candidates who are looking for a job, career politicians who are looking for a job, and public servants who want to serve the public. I'm not looking for a job. As a matter of fact, I just came from work. I still got my uniform on. Those who are running for this position are only looking to serve themselves, and that is the issue in the community. If you look around our communities, you'll see that we are living in awful conditions. Have these individuals spoke out against mass incarceration? Have they fought for anything regarding justice? Have they supported Judge Tracy Hunter, who is really passionate about making sure that our kids are taken care of? No, they haven't. And they won't, because they are controlled by the powers that be. And we need to change that. Again, I am running for this office because justice is a ministry. You know, it's going to take a change of ownership or a change of leadership, someone who cares about the immoral practices, the practices of leaving people without housing, the practices of leaving people without food, the practices of just leaving people to die. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is the mic on?
This is Alicia Reese coming up.
Thank you and good evening. Good evening. As you all know, that I'm from this community, live down the street in Bond Hill. Many of you were at Integrity Hall for so many activities and community forums. And then I live down the street now. And it's amazing to me when I see folks that just skip in with no results. The first result, after winning, I've been winning 70 state representative, president of the Ohio Legislative Black Caucus. The question is, what have you done? Well, we're sitting in what I've done. The Community Action Agency, when it was down on Woodburn Avenue, and they were getting ready to put them out, and we said, no, we're going to give you a bigger facility, a facility that we're going to build right here that we can have this forum. So I want to welcome our opponents to one of the projects that I put together. When I worked with the governor on the deal for the casinos that had stopped it, we got it going again. We had the casino come in this room and have over 700 people apply for jobs, and people got jobs. So let me just go. I gotta finish this because I'm home. My last thing that I want to say is that I'm running for county commissioner because our people need resources. You need somebody who's got experience and knows how to get the resources, and somebody who has a track record of getting things done. I look forward to getting into the debate today, but I'm asking you to go vote with me tomorrow at the Board of Elections so we can get something done. All right.
Yeah, that was the opening right there. I want you to hear that. I think it was important for you to hear at least how the candidates introduced themselves. And, you know, if I was grading those intros, I would say that one of them got 5 stars out of 5, and that would have to be Alicia Reese. I mean, it is what it is. You know, she was instrumental in getting that building for CAA. Those are facts. I mean, she didn't say anything that registered to be dishonest in my ears, in my experience. And if it was me, I said the same thing. And she welcomed her opponents to one of her accomplishments. And I think that's significant. I think it's significant. I mean, she has every right to do that. Here you are talking about what you've done. You sitting in what I've done. And as you could hear, it definitely had an impact with the audience. So if you're just tuning in, I'm going over just sharing my observations. We're listening to some of the audio, sharing our different analysis and thoughts about what happened last night at the NAACP forum. The next forum is going to be on the 25th, which is coming up on Tuesday. There's 2 actually on Tuesday. That's customary to do the event. You know, you vote on a Tuesday. So what I've seen is that a lot of the forums are like on a Tuesday before you actually vote, which makes sense. I know that coming up on Tuesday, there's going to be 2 of the forums. The one forum is going to be the NAACP, and then the other one's going to be with the Cincinnati Enquirer. And I think that the next forum is going to be, there's no drop off in importance. You know, it's all important. You got judicial candidates, state reps, highly critical positions that these men and women want us to vote them into. And to do that, we've got to have the best information possible. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion. But back to this.
Multifaceted and not just one faceted. Keep the rates down, keep the jobs up, make sure the pensions are protected. That's my plan for MSD.
These individuals sound really good. You know, what I challenge you to do is look at their record. Yes, they have relationships. What they're doing is they're talking about the relationships they have on the local level, the state level, but they do nothing. If you look at their records, they've done nothing to uplift the poor. I have stood with KUFA. KUFA and individuals who have dealt with sewer backup in their homes, people who have died from sewer backup in their home. It sounds really good. State Rep Reese, her sound bites, again, sound amazing, but look at the people who are supporting her. She is supported by people who are actually in position to make a difference right now. And she's not going to speak out, just like she has not come out and worked with individuals in Cumminsville who have lost homes, lost properties. She had an opportunity, it's good that we're here in this building where she played a part in getting the community action here, but she's not responsible for that. What we need to do is we need to stop allowing individuals to come in and tout their records and make it sound good, but their records show something totally different. As far as the Martin Luther King Exchange, I commend her for being a part of that, being a part of the Martin Luther King Exchange, because what she did is she created an avenue for the developers to get to Avondale to take over that area, and a lot of the sewer issues are right there in Avondale. So again, it sounds good, but as the commissioner, it will be similar. I will work with individuals to get jobs. I'm not going out asking special groups like some of the labor unions to endorse me, because I want to be held accountable to the people. The voters support me, and that's all that matters.
So that was Kelly Prather. That was Kelly Prather. Somebody said whatever.
That against Ms. Reese. So we're wanting you to do a 30-second rebuttal, but moving forward, because that's part of the rules. But moving forward, we want to keep in mind this is a forum and less of a debate. So we want to make sure that we're honoring that.
Okay, let me chime in here. So that was from last night. I hope that you can hear it. And I wonder if the NAACP would allow me to put up a recording device on Tuesday so that we can get some just to make sure we always have a really, really, really good audio copy. You know what I'm saying? I will suggest that to them or ask them and see if that's possible for Tuesday the 25th. But anyway, so that was Byron McCauley sort of reminding the candidates that this was a forum and not a debate, because clearly, Kelly, she was going after, if you want to put it that way, she was going after Alicia Reese. I'm not mad at her about that. For me, I don't believe that we need just one black radio station in town. I think we can have more than one. And I think all black folks don't think the same. And I don't think there's a problem with us challenging each other on issues. Not getting disrespectful and calling each other crazy. Now you want to shoot somebody like Snoop and all this other crazy stuff, but just the intellectual clash of ideas. That's good in our community as well. You know what I'm saying? So some people be like, oh, Kelly should jump out. Well, if she thinks she should stay in a race, she should stay in a race. And hopefully we can glean some value from the clash of ideas. You know what I'm saying? That's the approach that I'm trying to take with it. You know what I'm saying? With all these races where we have, maybe two black candidates or two folks from our community that are going after one another, I think the only way we should look at it is there's a value in the clash of ideas. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong with that. We can disagree and still be cool. We can disagree vehemently, passionately, and not necessarily be wrong. And maybe people can get something out of the debate or the conversation in of itself. So that's how I'm looking at, Kelly being in the race. And Kelly is saying that she don't feel like Alicia and Connie have really done anything, while also acknowledging some of the things that Alicia Reese has done. What I would say is that Alicia Reese is not new to this, y'all. She's been doing this on a big level. This ain't nothing for her. This is what she do. And, she's a doer and not just a talker. And I think that for me, observing last night, it came out, her experience came out just even in that first 1 minute opener, how she was able to do a couple things simultaneously. She told you this was her neighborhood. And she told you what she's done in a way that was entertaining and nobody can disagree with her. Y'all sitting in one of my accomplishments. So I want to, my opponents. That was a great opener right there. Even so much that even, Kelly sort of acknowledged it a little bit as well when she was kind of going at her. You picked that up? I'm unbiased. I'm just observing. I don't have a dog in the race. Whoever wins, wins. But what's your take on it?
No, I'm good.
Go ahead, Phyllis.
Thank you.
This is Connie Pillage.
I appreciate that. One of my top 3 priorities, if I get to serve on the county commission, I'm going to put a laser focus on the Metropolitan Sewer District because this sewer system is obsolete. It is a health hazard. As Representative Reese said, she's had her sewers back up in her house. It's happened in my house too. It happens all over this county, and that's because the infrastructure is out of date. It's obsolete, and it's going to become an enormous health issue if we don't fix the MSD right now. Unfortunately, communities of color are often the worst, in the worst position when we have these environmental disasters, because your communities, our communities, have been ignored, and I'm going to make sure that that doesn't happen anymore. So my ideas for the MSD. First of all, it's embroiled in a lawsuit that's been going on for a long time. Probably would be helpful to have a lawyer on the commission to help put that to an end. We're going to comply with the consent decree. We're going to stabilize the rates. We're going to provide assistance to low-income ratepayers in this county. We're going to restructure how the rates are assessed so that people who don't use a lot of water don't have to pay for the water they're not using. That's just ridiculous. So we're going to protect the jobs and the pensions, and we're going to propose a plan to move forward. Thank you.
Next question, we're going to start with Kelly Prather. And this question is concerning budgets.
Go ahead,
How do
KP.
you plan to balance the budget for the county departments that you're responsible for? Which departments will you cut? Or do you foresee the need to increase taxes to balance the budget?
What I plan to do is work with each of the leaders from each of the 49 municipalities to see what they need. What we need to do is we need to work with individuals and elected officials and individuals to see, to do community engagement and do a SWOT analysis. Cincinnati is the largest city within Hamilton County, and sadly, other parts of the county have been neglected. So what we need to do again is we need more community forums, more community engagement. We need less people working and controlling and telling people what we are planning on doing, and more transparency. Sadly, what happens at the county is we don't know about jobs, we don't know about contracts, everything is monopolized for that reason. So I want to create a system where we communicate with everyone. And a lot of our systems are antiquated. As far as cutting the budget, I would, again, I can't say which area I would focus on cutting or which area I would focus on increasing because I'm not a commissioner, but I know that we're spending a lot of money on MSD, the sewer district, and we need to look at those issues. We definitely need to change that. So the first thing I would do is just work with all of everyone together, talk about what's needed, and take a close look at the budget. And then also work with some of the commissioners who are there who are willing to share the information.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Let's go. My girl got elected.
You're next. I apologize. Connie Pillage is next.
All right, thank you, Mr. McCollum. So right now, the county does have a stable budget. We have already had a tax solution. The voters have no appetite to repeal that. So the county is in a good shape for right now. However, we got long-term to think about, and that's the kind of vision that I want to bring to the county, is long-term planning. I learned this as a military officer. We had to have long-term strategic plans in order to do the things that we did. And in my role, I was the manager of our squadron's budget. So I learned in business school, I learned in the Air Force, I learned this when I ran my own small law firm, how to balance budgets. Second, another military trick I learned is that you do a top-to-bottom review. We didn't. Why can't we do that at the government level? Go through every facet of that budget. But look, there are going to be priorities that we get to make, and the decisions that we provide pathways to success for those who are struggling. That's got to be number one.
And I think that the reason why on a lot of the feeds they were having some issues just comes down to just the overload of so many people, perhaps on the Wi-Fi over at the CAA. So you may see that. That's the little hiccups you're hearing in the audio. That's because I'm pulling the audio from a video and there's some hiccups in it, and it happens. It happens. But I just want to give you a sense of what went down. I'm going to play more for you because the fireworks, if you want to call it that, or let's say some more, to use Ray's word, robust dialogue happens just a little bit later. But I just want to stop and get back to your comments and just kind of read your comments. Can anyone speak to D Wizzle's question? He had a question when he called in about 15 minutes ago about the nature, the diversity of the Hamilton County prosecutors. If you got information, please share it with us. Nate, here's an article from September 2017 about Dieter's asset forfeiture. You know what? We might have pulled the same article, Terrence. Yeah, we did, man. It is the same thing. Yeah, I see you writing that now. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, Jim McNair, I gave him props, man, because I thought he was the only one. And I spoke with him face to face about this and gave him props, and he gave me some more details as to what he does. But anyway, he was a white male. He used to write for the City Beat magazine. He was their investigative reporter. They let him go. Now he's doing some other things on a statewide level. And he used to go do some great reporting over asset forfeiture and really drilling down on the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office. And, you know, Joe Dieter's, just the way the law is written, is able to do what he wants with the money, and that's what he did. You know, his friends, he had a friend who does IT work, and then Joe Dieter's paid his friend to come in and do IT work for the county. Like I said, and I think that Fanon Rucker spoke to this, I mean, the prosecutor's office is not just to prosecute. They do a lot of different things. They wield a lot of influence in county government. And when we talk about the diversity of the prosecutors, I'm wondering about the diversity of the whole administrative staff, the support staff, everybody. And we'll never know what's been really going on down there until someone who's not a part of the Republican good old boy network system gets in that office. We'll never know because we're just not going to get that kind of access. It's just what it is. And in my lifetime, I've always had a perception that the prosecutor's office was hostile to my community. You said my sound sounds low. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Thank you. Thank you so much, Pat. Thank you. You said my sound was low there. I'm just talking. But back to what I was saying. I mean, if you missed all of that, I was talking about, you know, the Hamilton County prosecutor and the fact that in my lifetime, I've always had this viewpoint that it was hostile to people like me. Before him, who was it? Mike Allen? Yeah. So we'll never know. We'll never know. Mike Jones writes, so D. Wizzle was correct. No black male prosecutors. Can anyone confirm? Again, I'll put it out there. I don't know. Tracy writes, it's always me. Connie is beyond arrogant. Ray writes, she was very adamant about working with MSD. She was. And so what's in it for black folks from the Hamilton County Commissioner's position? What's our interest? Is it MSD? Is it infant mortality rate? Is it affordability of homes? Is it what is it? Ray writes, TNT writes, no BR. Joe Dieters gave Smitherman $25,000. And the moment he thought he said something negative about him, he told Smitherman he can send it back. But of course, Smitherman denied saying anything about him, and it was all good again. What? What happened? Cesar V writes, greetings, been listening, couldn't check in until now. Much love to the choppers who always wade through the BS. How does this con of a prosecutor give monies to rich private high schools, lacrosse teams when CPS schools need so much? Shaking my damn head. Well, I mean, that's his mentality. That's Joe Jeter's mentality. And that's his purview. That's his prerogative. He can do what he wants with the money. For me, I think that it's blood money. It's blood money from the community, drug money. And I think the only way that you can try to heal the wounds is to put that money back into those same neighborhoods in a more positive way. That's the way I would look at it. But clearly, that's not the way everyone looks at it. Oh, okay. I got you. Thank you so much, folks. Tell me about the volume. I appreciate it. I did. I do believe I turned it back up. I had turned it down for the interview a bit because I thought maybe it was causing some interference. Joseph T. Dieters on Twitter. Okay, great. Thank you for that. I've got a call on the line. Let's go straight to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Guy, how you doing?
Hey, Fame, what's up? I'm great.
Not much. Hey, listen, I thought that was very poignant what you said about how whether if Gabe or the other guy gets in, it ain't nothing gonna really change like that, because these cats are elitist and bougie. Both of them, they're just coming from two bougie factions. You know.
Can you define what you mean by bougie?
Because if you're not in their inner circle or from that ilk, they ain't fucking with you. Trust me, their energy is palpable with them too. You know, especially one of them. I can't really, get into specifics because of a project I'm undergoing, so I can't really, endorse, if, for lack of a better term, either one. But and this is coming from a local, well-known political strategist was telling me this. Like, you ain't in the ilk, they don't even give a damn what you got to say to them, positive or negative. You know, and yeah, they're both very bougie and high class and hotty toddy.
High class and hotty toddy.
Yes, they don't. The regular struggling black folk, they tend to be of the opinion that it's your problem. I mean, case in point, look at last week at the way Donnie B was talking to folks.
Donnie B is not running for Hamilton County prosecutor.
But, okay, she down with one of them.
Again, man, these leaps are yours, man. You got some incredible leaps.
These ain't leaps. I'm
incredible leaps.
Dots. I'm connecting dots.
Yeah, but when you connecting dots, you ever played a little, man, when I was little, I used to get these little dot workbooks where if you connected all the dots, it'd be like from 1 to 500, it would like create the picture of a flower. You remember what I'm talking about? Or
no.
You never seen those books before where it may be like 1,000 dots and you have to go in order. And when you connect all the dots, it creates a picture. But when you do that, you still got to go in order. You got to go from 1 to 2 and 3. You jumping from like 1 to 1,000. There's a lot in between.
Okay. Keep thinking. Okay. Well, you'll notice when you have them on, especially one more than the other. Now one of them I spent some time with. He seems to be okay, but the other one, he's an elitist fuck.
Speak plainly, sir. Who are you speaking of? Give us names. Name the names.
I can't do that. You know why I can't.
Man,
I can't do that.
Okay.
You know why I cannot do that.
You only giving us half the story, though.
I'm giving you enough of the story that you need to know that, I mean, okay, not to say negative, these are high achieving black folks. Okay? They don't give a fuck about regular black folks. Trust me. All that talk that they doing about how there's certain rules that the prosecutor has to follow, much like we learned that Judge Tracy Hunter had to follow. There's certain implements from the state and everything that they still have to follow, or they could jeopardize their law license. It's not finna they just be, finna just be giving out chump charges and throwing out cases for black folks. That ain't about to happen. And you kind of touched on that.
Well, what I said is I don't think people should expect some kind of overnight change. Because some people are immature and they think, oh, we got the person in the office. Overnight, everything's going to change. The world don't work that way. Rome wasn't built in a day. And neither will the revolution won't be built in a day.
Which would have been a great question to ask the D-robe judge that you had on, that you were tossing softballs to. Why did you think he was about to change shit overnight? But I digress.
That's a great question for you to have asked her. But you got all soft and sensitive and wanted to give her a pass after talking ish for months about her.
And all I'm going to say is this about what D. Wiz was talking about Kendall Coles. 1997, I caught a gun charge in the county. Kendall Coles was the prosecutor. It didn't happen in the city. So maybe I need to vote for Gabe to get him in there to bring in his conviction integrity unit to go back and look at that charge. Because it didn't happen in the city. It happened in Cheviot. and he was the prosecutor. That's all I know. So that's why I'm like, nah, I'm pretty sure dude was the county prosecutor. I had him. You on the dig? So maybe he was filling in that day. I don't know what was going on, but all I know, he was the prosecutor on a county case. You understand me? And as far as Dwayne Wade and them, yes, Rizza Islam, he said the same thing I said to you a year ago when you asked me what would I do if my son was gay. If my son told me he was gay, I told him, like I told you, I would still love my son, but I don't have to like his bad decision.
Yeah, but that doesn't tell you what you would do. My question was,
I would
what
still
would you
love
do?
my son. I would still love my son, but that don't mean I like his bad decision. That's all.
So D Wade says,
I'm not gonna beat him.
You're not gonna beat him. That's good, because that's what I was getting. Great, you're not gonna beat your son and put a Facebook post out when you're playing him crazy. That's good to see, man. That's all I was really trying to get at.
That's what D Wade's doing, setting his son up for getting bullied, or his daughter, whatever he's calling that thing. He's setting them up to get bullied.
I don't know.
I don't
know about
you should have
that.
never. There was no need to go public with all that. And now they're talking about how the little boy was. What the hell do 12-year-olds call the shots, Nathan?
You got a good point there.
Talk about the little boy runs the house. Like, what the hell's wrong with you people?
I couldn't agree with that headline either. When I read that headline talking about the 12-year-old is the leader in the house, I'm thinking, what household is that? My daughter's 14. She ain't running shit. Nothing.
And the coup de grace, Dwayne Wade now talking about, well, he was a child. He had effeminate tendencies. This dude playing a sucker role to keep his wife's name in the public because they're going to get a reality show out of this.
Well, they'd probably get a reality show even if they didn't have a transgender child because, they're D. Wade and Gabrielle Union, and they kind of set up for that. I'm sure they've gotten a lot of offers and turned them down because we haven't seen any shows.
I'm sure it would get like some minimal interest like all reality shows do, but now that they done pimped this little kid out, it's gonna be the best thing since sliced bread.
Can I offer a different opinion just for you to consider?
Go ahead.
Maybe here's another way of looking at it: that these transgender issues impact the black community as well. There is a lot of bad ways that some people have dealt with it, and so D. Wade and Gabrielle Union believe that they're displaying a positive way to deal with it, and that's why they're so willing to go public with it. They feel like they're positive role modeling for our community. Is that one way of look? I think that's one way of looking at it. I don't know if it's true or not, but maybe that's how they look at it.
The way I choose to look at it is they're making bad decisions. I saw a meme yesterday that said Africans let the West convince them that polygamy was bad and transgendering is good. I felt that. You understand? How they gonna convince you that your natural normal life is bad? But when you want to go start cutting your stuff off, your junk off, everything's all good. I thought Lil Boosie was. He is who he is. You understand? He's not gonna ever win an oratory award, but what he said was so poignant. Don't cut his stuff off, and if he gonna be gay, just let him be gay. Don't be calling him a girl. That's where you're going too far, Dwayne. You're doing too much. You feel me?
I understand.
Maybe you don't.
I understand where you're coming from, man. I do. Like I told you, when I read that headline talking about that kid is the leader in the house, I'm like, what the hell? You want to give them some leeway and let them develop who they are, not break them all down. But leader in the house, I wasn't brought up that way. So that to me was that was a mystery right there. But the only thing I can come up with is they're trying to do positive role modeling for the community on this transgender issue. That's all I can come up with.
Oh, and before I go, two more nuggets. Like I told you, at Joseph T. Dieters on Twitter, you'll see his black prosecutor that he just hired. He hired two white women, a white man and a black male, for the at the badge presentation, as he called it. And two, I was told that the real mom is suing Dwayne and Gabrielle, but I couldn't find a link. I didn't really have time to search for it, but I'm going to. today, and I'll give you a full report on that tomorrow if I find it.
Okay.
And if she is suing, I believe she should. Because hell no, if my son's gay, just let him be gay. But you talking about changing sexes and all that, that's some other stuff. So she should sue them. So that's all I got, B. I'll holler at you. I'm looking forward to the heart health show. So I'll holler. Oh!
Appreciate the call. We'll go ahead and rack him, although I disagree with some of what you said. He said he feels like Fanon and Gabe are bougie. And I just want to make sure I understood where he was coming from. And I feel like I know Fanon, I know Fanon better than I know Gabe. Bougie, I mean, I wouldn't say that. That's just me. I don't read Fanon that way at all. I don't think the brother is bougie in my opinion. I mean, just because you attain a level of success professionally doesn't mean that you lose who you are and where you come from. I don't read that from Fanon. Gabe was in the Obama administration. So listen, when you got a job like that and you're rubbing elbows, I mean, you're going to come in contact with different kinds of folks. Does that automatically make you bougie? I can't say that. I don't just because you've been successful as a black person in your particular endeavor don't mean that you lose yourself. Now, are there some that do? We know that's true, but I don't read it that way. I don't read those individuals that way. Certainly not Fanon. I don't know Gabe like that, but I don't read him like that either. That's not how I read it. Just because you rubbing elbows with different folks and you a judge, you a prosecutor in the Obama administration, you're meeting different kinds of people and that don't mean you lose yourself. You don't have to lose yourself in that. But it's an interesting conversation nonetheless. If you want to chime in, 513-873-7134. I'm reading something here from TNT. It's interesting. She writes, this was just 3 minutes ago. She writes, just spoke to another observer from yesterday's forum, and he made some great points. Check this out. It's interesting. You can read it for yourself inside the Chop Shop. They said Alicia Reese should not have attacked Connie Pillage about the campaign money. That was between Pillage and the Dem Party, and that her attack on Connie might turn off white Democrats and divide the party. Connie had Portune's endorsement, which may give her a slight advantage. The party endorsed no one, so the ladies must remember to remain diplomatic because many eyes are watching and judging them. That's an interesting point. I mean, could be. That could happen. I mean, I can understand why Alicia Reese would have a problem with that, because here she is from ground zero building up the movement and the momentum and the money for what she's doing now. And then you got Connie Pillage, because of the state campaign laws, who's got $500,000 sitting in a bank account, and she's able to just to bring it over to this, right? And it's like, well, is that fair? And I can understand that. Should she have brought it up? Will it divide the party? Will white Democrats be like, oh, Alicia Reese on some other ish? Could be. It could be. I don't know. And Todd Portune did endorse her, and that's going to mean something to people. I think it's going to mean more to white folks than to black folks, though. I think it'll mean more to white voters than black voters, in my opinion. What do you think? Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, comrade.
Black Russia. What up, man?
What's happening?
What's on your mind this morning?
Well, I disagree with that statement that you just made about, not that you made, but you read about Alicia Reese attacking Connie Pillage. Good for Alicia Reese attacking her. This ain't no tiddlywinks. This is a fist fight. So she did what she's supposed to do. And if people are concerned about the Democratic Party being divided, it's too effing late. It's already divided. So if you want to win, you better go hard or go home. So good for Alicia Reese for talking about it. That's what this race is going to come down to. It's going to come down to identity politics. White voters in the county are going to go for Connie Pillage, and black and city folks are going to go for Alicia Reese. It's going to be about turnout in that race. whoever can get their folks to turn out. And that money situation resonates with black folks. Like, here this white chick coming with $500,000 to run a race to tell you that your sewers are backed up, so you need to vote for me. Like, those are some of those problems are problems that black folks don't put at the top of the list as issues. Sound like she didn't know the forum she was going to, Connie Coolidge. I wasn't there, but just a little bit I've heard, hey, that's what it sounded like. She just didn't know where she was at. Like, she was at some alternative universe, and she just didn't know how to relate. So that's what I think about that whole scenario. But the Democratic Party is divided anyway. And it's divided racially, unfortunately. So when it gets to the general election, these Democrats, whoever win the primary, are going to need to, get out here in the county and get these, white Democrats to vote for them. We just seen it too many times where white Democrats vote for the opposite party, but they don't pick the black candidates. So any African Americans who win the primary better get out in that county and get them white Democrats to vote for them. Because I would probably say it's pretty safe to say the black vote's on lock for those folks.
We've talked about this before. Speaking of Black Rush, we've talked about this before, but do you think that Kelly Prather is going to have an impact in the primary? Like, do you think that if Alicia Reese loses, it'll be in any way because Kelly Prather's in the race?
No, I don't. I think she's going to take some votes from Alicia Reese, but I don't think she'll take enough to put a dent in this particular race. And, Kelly Prather, she's like a sideshow. She's like the person in the room, saying Captain Obvious stuff. Well, endorsements don't matter, votes matter. Well, we already know that, Kelly. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like, she doesn't bring anything to the race. But, it's America. You can run if you want to. She'll take some votes from Alicia Reese, but not many. I think Alicia Reese got strong enough support in the urban community to probably win this race. County Pillage, she'll have the white county voters, but, we're going to see. We've seen too many times in these primaries where, the white candidate loses because the black candidates turn their base out and they win. Now, whether that wins you a general election is different. But in a primary, it's gonna probably carry Alicia Reese to victory. I've already seen Alicia Reese signs out. I ain't seen no County Pillage signs in the hood yet.
And how much does Connie really want to win this race? Like, is she willing to spend all this money in this race and lose? So now she got a war chest on, which I think gives her a bit of leverage because she can, you got a couple $100,000 in the bank. That puts you in a good position to run for any spot that comes open.
For sure. I don't think she's gonna spend the whole $500,000. I think it's safe to say she'll probably spend. To win this race, she probably need to spend about half that, probably about $250,000. If she want to win, she ain't gonna spend the whole $500,000 because she gonna probably keep $250,000 in case she loses race to run for something else.
Right, keep her leverage in the party. Right, makes sense.
Yeah. Because you can spend that money. You ain't got to spend that money necessarily on your race, but you can spread that money around the party and buy some good favor. So it's strategic. She don't need $500,000 to win.
You can do that. She can do that with her. Excuse me. You can do that. She can.
You can donate.
She can donate to other campaigns with that.
Absolutely, she's allowed to do that. So that money is not just for her race. She could buy leverage with that in the party. She could do a whole bunch of stuff with that for the party. It's just one of those deals where look at who endorsed her: Todd Wartoon, Denise Treehouse. Of course, Todd Wartoon is gone, unfortunately, but Denise Treehouse, a major player in the Democratic Party, and she's getting behind Connie Pillage. That plays because the money that she has in her campaign war chest, she can spread that money around. She needs about $250,000 to beat Alicia Reese. Because Alicia Reese's ground game, I could already see it. I ain't seen people yet, but I've seen signs out. And they don't just get there by themselves. And for what I think I read, Alicia Reese raised about $70,000. So she's in good shape. She, $70,000 to get in this race, $70,000 to win this race for her. Because she run a low budget. And $70,000 is a lot of money for her.
Anything else?
I I think Gabe Davis is going to get blown out. It won't even be close. I'm going to vote today. People should go vote.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
Anything
guess
else?
what? I'm pulling the Democratic ballot too.
Are you? You switch? You said you was going to switch over.
Yeah, so I'm gonna switch parties for this race. Well, primarily when I'm voting for Terrence, but I'm gonna vote in that presidential primary. I'm voting for Bernie Sanders.
What are you going to do in November?
Who, Bernie Sanders?
No, what are you going to do in November? Like once you switch, can you switch back for the general election?
Oh, no. Once you switch, you're done for 2 years. You got to switch back in 2022.
Right.
I might switch back. I'm not a person that's aligned with any particular party. I pick and choose the ballot I want to pick. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, I'm fluid. Let's put it like that. Like people say they gender fluid. Well, I'm politically fluid.
I feel you on that.
Republican ballot,
But once you make this decision,
for Black folks to do that.
Yeah, I think it's smart. Depending on what's going on some levels. But I mean, you're going to be locked in for the next 2 years.
Yeah, for 2 years. It's no big deal to me. I'll be locked in as a Democrat for 2 years. But, I don't toe the Democratic line. I don't toe the Republican line. Black Russians do what he want to do. So, that's how I've always operated. So, yeah, I'm going to vote in the Democratic presidential primary. I'm going to vote in the Democratic primary. I don't know what I'm going to do in the sheriff's race. I'm still, undecided on that one. But I don't make up my mind before this afternoon.
All right, Black Russian man. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but I was going to say I don't know hold you too long, but, Jim Neal not showing up to the NAACP forum ain't going to make a difference. I want people to know that. It ain't going to matter. Joe Dieters ain't showed up for the NAACP forum for the last 20 years. But he's been winning. So the NAACP forum ain't make or break for a lot of these candidates. Some of them maybe, but a lot of them, like the establishment dudes, Jim Neal, man, he ain't showing up.
I mean, this is not a general election though. This is the Democrat Party primary.
Yeah, I know.
He's just trying to get the nomination to go to November.
I know.
And
it's a big deal.
Despite the information that's out there, I mean, I believe that had he showed up, there might have been some people in the room that could have been swayed by what he has to say.
I doubt that. I think, and this is the unfortunate part. I tell people this all the time, too. Unfortunately, African Americans are just locked into that Democratic ticket. So it's like, for him, it doesn't make any sense. Black folks, majority of the time, are voting down the Democratic ticket. I mean, you could have Peter Pan on the Democratic ticket. I done seen this too many times at the polls. Black folks walking up, where's that Democratic ticket at? Like crack cocaine. So for Jim Neal, why waste the time?
Well, maybe that's true in the past, but I think the electorate and their attitudes are changing, even within the black community. And I still think that Jim Neal missed an opportunity to make an impression with black voters and Democrat voters.
I think, Democratic voters, black voters, that's one of the same in the NAACP room. So, they voting down the ticket, bro. He's probably out here trying to work the folks who's going to show up to the polls, who's going to put him over the top. Because, I'm just being honest. This is my perspective. Black folks typically just grab that Democratic ticket and vote down the ticket mindlessly.
Some do.
That's been my experience.
Yeah, some do.
So for Jim Neal, it's like I don't fault him for not going. I don't think it's a make or break scenario for him. There's a bunch of candidates who could not show up for the NAACP forum and be okay.
Well, I think one thing is clear is that obviously Jim Neal agrees with you because he wasn't there.
Yeah, right. Jim Neal is in. Look, if the Democrats nominate Charmaine McGuffey, I think they're going to lose. That don't mean I'm not going to vote for her because again, I want to decide in that race anyway. But my perspective right now is if she wins, the Democrats going to lose the sheriff's office. Jim Neal gives him the best shot, and Jim Neal seems like an okay guy. I've seen him when they did the Crime Stoppers thing on TV. He was present with a bunch of folks when they put out the Crime Stopper cards as far as the unsolved murders. I don't know if Charmaine McGuffey was there or not. I don't remember seeing her at the press conference, but I mean, stuff like that is what is what sways people. Not an NAACP quote unquote forum, which should be a debate, but people want to put the nice little bow tie forum on it. I mean, I'm just of the opinion that that issue don't. At the end of the day, that issue don't matter.
All right, hey man, thanks for the flows. I appreciate it.
All right,
most def. That's Black Russia checking in. What do you think? My time is short. Let me check on my time here. We're at 2 minutes to 2:11. Shit, at this point, let's go to the bottom of the hour. I want to read some of your comments here. Mason Mahler writes, Gabrielle Union is the new Erykah Badu. One whiff and nigwas lose their minds. Is that right? Pat writes, I agree with Fame. He is too young for a sex change. I didn't even know he was getting the little boy's getting a sex change. That's on a whole nother level. I didn't think he was getting a sex change. I thought that they were just allowing him to live his life as a girl and change his name to Zaya. A sex change? You got to do that when you get 18, B. And if you feel the same way in 7 years, believe me, you can still get it done. In fact, the technology will even be better. It'll be a better and more a better experience in terms of a procedure. Sex change? Is it possible that you can see something like that? Dwayne Wade says that when his kid was 3 years old, he could see that his kid was a little effeminate. His son. Like, what does that mean? At 3? What does that mean? A little effeminate? I don't know. I don't even know what that means. At the same time, my son is 5 now, so he was 3 just 2 years ago. And as a heterosexual father, living in this world where everything is just be what you want to be and whatever you feel is valid, I'll say it for the 1,000,000th time. I want my son to be like me. So am I watching to see every little thing he does? And does he gravitate to girl toys? And does he want to put on dresses like my wife? I mean, it wasn't top of mind. But as a father, you want to observe everything about your child. I don't know. Some of this, I think 18 is a magic number because at 18, you're legally responsible for yourself. At that point, do what you want to do. You want to start getting tattoos, you want to deviate your septum, put nose rings, you want to change your gender and you can do all that stuff legally when you get 18. And now you're old enough to understand better the consequences and what that really means. You know what I'm saying? I'm a big believer in that. I ain't trying to tell you who to be and who not to be. I'm just saying when you get 18 and you get your own place and you are now an adult and can't nobody tell you nothing, then you can make all those serious critical decisions about yourself. Anything other than that is just a little, I don't know. TNT writes, I think he just put his foot in his mouth. You haven't convinced your brother not to show up. Yeah, I disagree with him. I mean, I feel like anytime you get a chance to get in front of people, you get a chance to impress people if you're a candidate and tell people who you are. And yeah, there's some people that vote down a ticket, but I feel like sometimes we think that the black electorate is dumb. I don't really feel that way. There's a lot of people who, if you looked at who they voted for, it may be majority Democrat, but it's not 100%. Because there may be candidates here or there for different races. They just ain't feeling whether they got the Democrat endorsement or not. Black voters have helped all parties. That's an old stereotypical saying. We put members of the Green Party, Republican Party, and independents. So what the hell is he talking about? Blacks are not married to the Democrat Party. Again, I think things are changing. And I think these generalizations have some truth to them, but they're just generalizations. It don't speak for everybody. I look at myself as an independent thinker. I'm sure you look at yourself as an independent thinker. You might notice that you align, your ideology and your votes happen to align with one party or the other, but you look at yourself as an independent thinker. I think there's a lot of black folks that identify with that description. If Gabe loses, he may be an asset to the HCPO, Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office. He may. That would be dope. Why not? Sharp writes, housing should be the number one issue for Hamilton County commissioners in terms of the black vote. Like, what's our interest? What do we care about in these particular races? What matters most to you, to us? What the hell you asking BR about Kelly? You know, CG Dub, when I asked him, I knew I was like possibly opening the door for whatever, but you know, he spoke his mind on it. I'm just interested in what you think. Casper, aka Fame, writes, I like Gabe, I like Fanon, but one is bourgeois AF. Brian writes, Ricky Smiley said it best. White society says locks are against the dress code, but a boy wearing a dress is okay. Leader in the house, that's some Will and Jada-ish. Yeah, you can never be. Let me make sure I got this right. D. Wade said that his daughter is the leader of the house. And I'm thinking, in what way? What the hell? Yeah, you get to make some decisions here or there. You want to put something in your room, change the color a little bit. You know, you want to change the room around. Yeah, you can do all that shit. You know, you want to come downstairs and watch TV. You can watch TV. You want to go in there and make yourself what you want to make. We got multiple things. You can make yourself any kind of sandwich, whatever you want to in the kitchen. That's your kitchen too, to some degree. It's really our kitchen. We let you go in there and make food. But this whole idea that the kids is the leader in the house, that's troubling to me. I ain't grew up like that. I don't know nothing about that. But again, I'm trying to think positively here. I think that Gabrielle and D. Wade believe that they are doing positive role modeling for parents who may have a transgender black child. I think that's what they believe they're doing. And they might. They might. The reason why I spend time talking about it, I'll say it again. I said it earlier in the show, and I keep saying this is a black family issue. Black families are going to have to deal with these issues, transgender issues in their households moving forward. It is what it is. I was talking with my daughter, and we've been asking her, like, who does she feel like she is and what's going on with her and all this kind of stuff. And she tells us things about her friends, and this whole idea of gender fluidity is far more accepting among her peer group than it was among our peer group. Like when I was growing up, you said you was gender fluid, you was opening yourself up for a rough time in school. Rough. Now it's different. And even these black children look at it differently because their friends look at it differently. I'm telling you, it's a different world out there. It's a whole different world. And we shall see. Cam writes, who was looking for Sheriff Jimmy at the NAACP forum when he is fully for advancing colored people straight to the Justice Center? Sheriff Jimmy? Mason Marlon writes, I'm an independent thinker, but I vote Democrat because I educated myself on the ways of the Republican Party the last 60 years. Ask your parents or grandparents. Hashtag education is undefeated. TNT writes, BR totally dismissive of the black vote. Hashtag my vote matters. Thanks for all the videos. We will be posting some today. Drop writes, Mike Bloomberg, mini Mike Bloomberg knows y'all dumb. I don't know who's dumb. I just think people are getting caught up with just anybody but Trump. And I don't think that's the most intelligent way of looking at it. I mean, we can have that as a possible goal. But I'm looking for more characteristics in the next president other than just that. I seen Jim Neal at the Trump rally, but not the NAACP debate. That's what I remember about Jim Neal when I go vote. Right. Jim Neal found time to go to the Trump rally. He went to go shake hands with Trump and then take a picture with Trump and just be there and hear the word, get the word from the almighty leader of the cult. But he can't show up at the NAACP rally. To me, again, maybe he has some personal ish going on. I always open that door for anybody. Things happen. People are busy. I'm busy. You're busy. We're all busy. But at the same time, I mean, you make time for things that are important. Let me go back here and read more of your chat. Hilarious. Nathan, that's the whole point. It's going to be a fight to the finish. Dieters may have been, or those he know may be doing nefarious things. Thoughts from a friend. CG Dub writes, did I hear one of the candidates running for commissioner mention Croson study? You did. It was Alicia Reese. And she said that she liked to do a Croson study at the county level. And some people don't believe that the issue is worth the money to spend on a Croson study. I disagree. I remember debating a brother about this about a year and a half ago whenever this came up. And I'm like, why? If it costs $1 million for us to have a better view of the modern day discrimination going on systematically in the system called the city of Cincinnati, then spend the money. And then people were like, well, you don't need to spend that money. We know what's going on. I think there's a difference between knowing what's going on and then being able to present as fact what's going on to the stakeholders and the people that hold the purse strings and stuff like that. To me, it's two different things. And I think that's part of the reason why the study wasn't done, because once you do a study and it illuminates the systematic discrimination, now you got to do something about it. You can't deny it. It's a big difference between knowing and having facts where you can email it to somebody and it's indisputable. To me, that's different. So I wouldn't have a problem with them doing a Croson study. In fact, they need to do whatever study is necessary so that we can properly identify the weak points, the choke points, the discrimination points, however you want to look at it, the failures, and how the county is engaging with us. See, some people don't think that black folks are worth it. I do. If it costs $1 million and we waste $1 million all the time for these frivolous projects that serve one or either interest groups. Why not us? So, yeah, I think it was Alicia Reese. She said that's one of the things she wants to do within the first 100 days, I believe, or something like that. I do know it was Alicia Reese. I do remember that. See here. Sorry about the issue with the volume. Sorry about that, Brenda. She says, pump up the volume. You sound super low. I'll pump it up then. That was a while ago. Bloomberg will get attacked tonight. Yes, he will. Yeah, he will get attacked tonight. It'll be interesting to see how he handles himself. Wanda writes, I don't think Kelly was going after Alicia. She called it out for the reason it was at the Community Action Agency to make her shine. And Kelly spoke out and helped, but she didn't do it all. Again, I don't have a problem with Kelly challenging Alicia or anybody else. I don't have a problem with that. That's just, it's the territory. That's the territory. And, Kelly is perception-wise, in the minds of people I've talked to, they look at Kelly Prather like she's in the way, like she should get out the race. Everybody has their own opinion. You can agree or disagree on that. All I'm saying is that if you're Kelly Prather in that position, you got to go hard. Got to go hard. Got no problem with it. Iris writes, Nathan Ivey, Fanon Rucker stated that no black males hired since 1999, one black female since 2004, and she is no longer there. Approximately 120 lawyers and 100 support staff. Thank you for that. So 220 on the staff, 120 are lawyers. What's the numbers in terms of diversity? How brown is it? How black is it? How non-white is it? I think that's a very fair question. Very fair question. I think we will find out. And we won't really know. You're not going to see any changes in that until the changes at the top. If Joe Dieters remains in office past this year, then you're not going to see any changes. It's going to be the same old hostile to our community prosecutor's office, as it's always been. Same old taking the asset forfeiture money and giving it to wherever soccer or whatever school he wants to give it to. But we can do something about it in November. Mike Jones writes, we need to be strategic. How is Kelly being strategic? I'm confused. Wanda writes, go Kelly. Damn tight, sound good. I like Alicia. She sounds like the female version of Laylo Brown. Hashtag no disrespect. Hashtag barbershop. That's CG Dub. How does this? I think I've gone back to where I started, actually. Yes, let me catch up here. Conversations are all over the place. Somebody says Trump is winning. NAACP during the Richardson administration has been on the whack side. 0 accomplishments. I mean, I disagree with that vehemently. But I know you got a bone to pick with him, Black Russia. I know you do. We all know. Mason Mahler got jokes. He writes, Prather for president 2028. I mean, people like to clown Kelly, but again, she's out there. She put her name in a race. She's run for many different offices. And the one thing I can glean from it is hopefully we can get something in terms of the conversation that might help people make a better decision. You know, with Kelly being in the race, she might help to push the conversation in a way that if she wasn't in the race, the conversation never would have went there. I think that's totally possible. I really do. I think that's totally possible. And I think that if you're an Alicia Reese supporter, you don't like the fact that Kelly Prather's in a race because you feel like it's drawn. She might damage your candidate's chances. I understand.
Don't really practice what they preach. That's the question. So what is the main your campaign staff? And then the second.
Yeah, you have to check it out for yourself online because I'm having a lot of difficulties just streaming it just because of the way it was streamed initially. And no fault to any of the people. It's just a lot of people that were streaming. And I don't know what CAA's internet Wi-Fi capabilities are. You know, unless you're plugged in hardwire, you're going to run into a lot of issues. And even if you are, there's a lot of people on that particular stream. But there were a lot of people who were streaming. You know, the NAACP was streaming. If everybody was, and I don't think everybody was because I didn't get on the Wi-Fi. But, you know, sometimes when you go inside a building and there's a lot of traffic going on, you can have those kind of difficulties. So, again, I'll see what I can do moving forward just to help them with that. TNT writes, empowering black people is the biggest accomplishment. I agree with that. 100%. Dieters is just like Orange. They hire all the white mediocre people. All the white mediocre people, he writes. That is hilarious. You mediocre and white, got a job for you. That's hilarious. Oh, man. Let me see. Nate, maybe coming on at 5 a.m. tomorrow, will you be present? Yes. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to start the show much earlier. I'm thinking it'll be a 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. show. Now, I know that does not fit with a lot of people's schedule because you'll probably just be getting on as I'm getting off, but there will be a live broadcast tomorrow. Why am I doing it? I got a very, 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 very important morning meeting tomorrow that I have to be at. And it must be of supreme importance because I don't change the show for really anything. And that's going to be early in the morning. I have to be there. And because of that, I'm going to change the time of the show. So it'll be in the morning. If you missed the live show tomorrow morning, then, of course, we'll have the stream up so you can the podcast will be up so you can listen to it. And then I'll be back with a regular schedule on Friday. Okay, just want to tell you that. Thank you so much. Now, before we roll out of here, I want to direct your attention to my Facebook page. I'm going to post this for you as well inside the Chop Shop. There's an upcoming community event surrounding Issue 7 and their Move Forward campaign. There's going to be a community town hall on February 25th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Word of Deliverance. And if you've never been there before, I'm going to give you the link to the Facebook event page so you can check it out for yourself and make sure you are in attendance. It's going to be the first of two. There's going to be another one on March 6th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on the same topic, Move Forward campaign, Yes on 7, right? And if you're interested, that'll be at the Mount Healthy City Council meeting, March 6th, okay, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. But the next one will be, as I said, coming up on February 25th. There's a lot of things happening on February 25th. You got 2 forums happening on February 25th. And then, of course, you got this Move Forward issue, community town hall. That'll be February 25th. I was going to split people, but there's another opportunity for you to go as well if you're interested on March the 6th, if you can't make it on the 25th. The 25th is going to be, let me just tell you, the 25th is going to be on Tuesday. And then March 6th is, I believe, a Friday. If I've got that correct, I think I do. And you can check that out for yourself. Thank you for the conversation this morning. We just scratching the surface. There's so much more. I'm sorry, I said March 6th. I'm wrong on that. That's March the 9th. March the 9th. Again, that's March the 9th. That's a Monday. That's the second Monday in March. Okay. All right. Second Monday in March. It's going to be for the second town hall event from the folks over at Issue 7 in the Move Forward campaign. I want to make sure I put that out there so you know the information and where you can get the information and if you want to be there. Okay. So have an excellent day, everybody. I'll be back and better than ever tomorrow morning, again at a different time at 5 a.m. If something should change, I'll let you know on Facebook and on social media. Have an excellent day, and we'll talk real soon. I'm Nathan Ivey, live, local, and vocal. Remember, winners focus on winning. Losers focus on winners. Stay focused, stay winning, and we'll talk real soon. I'm out.